Hello everybody and welcome back to our brand new episode of our NASCAR My Career mode here from Kansas Speedway as Matt Kenseth following Talladega with a Terry Labonte win, while Matt Kenseth takes over the championship lead with just a handful of races left in the season. He leads by just 2 points over Tony Stewart, your defending Winston Cup Series champion. Kevin Harvick, who we're not going to show right here, we're going to show Jimmy Johnson instead, who's still in the mix, but Kevin Harvick P3 in the standings at 20 points behind. We have 4-5 drivers that still have a realistic opportunity to win the championship here, which is absolutely incredible when you think about the fact that it's a points format that goes across all 36 races. It's not like modern day where we have either a playoff or a chase format, and we still have this many drivers in the mix, which is almost unheard of, and it's just absolutely awesome to witness, and I can't wait to see how this is going to play out now, as it's been kind of, Matt Kenseth versus Tony Stewart for a lot of the kind of mid-season to this point now, but Harvick is getting back up in there. Jimmy Johnson's just been kind of hanging around, and don't rule out that 48, because really it's going to come down to which driver gets hot within the final 5 races. I think is going to be the one that goes on to win the championship here this season. And I am very, very excited to see which direction it's going to go now, as we completed practice, and I was relatively content with this Motorcraft number 21 Ford Taurus here this weekend. And of course, we only have a handful of races remaining here with this 21 team. We had qualifying kick off, and Gary the Cat, he decided he wanted to get involved and decided right here to step on my keyboard, unpause my game, and send me crashing. There he is, yeah, and he doesn't care at all what he just did. So we are going to get a restart on that one. I think that's fair. I think that one's warranted. Shout out Gary the Cat. I removed him from the room. I said, yep, you got to go. Anytime I'm like recording or streaming is when he just, for whatever reason, says, you know what? I'm going to cause problems in this room right now. So now qualifying back underway here with a goal of a 31.555, and as we roll through turn 3 and off turn 4, we'll head down right against the outside wall, and actually caught the outside wall ever so slightly, didn't really hurt the momentum, and to the line it's going to be a 32 flat here with a P27 result. Not exactly what I would expect. I was thinking to be more towards about 20th or so, as we'll look at the qualifying order. And up front, Terry Labonte, after winning in Talladega, my man puts himself on pole position here in Kansas as Kenseth and Stewart all up there in the top 5. Johnson a little ways down the order with some work to do as we come into this mile-and-a-half race weekend. So as we get ready to go here now, Terry Labonte scoring pole position. By the way, that was his 30th career pole, as we are going Saturday night under the lights racing. And you notice immediately on the right side of your screen in the stories of the race, Jerry Nadeau with the fire icon beside his name posted some fast laps in practice. Of course, that fire icon means they're going to be a lot faster than they usually are, so do keep an eye on that 01 U.S. Army Pontiac as we get ready to go racing here from Kansas. Kevin Harvick, watch out for him. Again, 20 points out of the championship behind Kenseth. Stewart, 2 points out. It's going to be every point matters type scenario at this point now as we get ready to fire off from P27. No one sent to the back. Green flag is out under the lights. Night racing here from Kansas Speedway. Labonte and Harvick lead the field to green. Now, as I really wouldn't expect Labonte to be able to hold on to P1, just really he doesn't typically have that pace here now, as he leads over Kenseth and Harvick, as well as Stewart all up there in the conversation. Dale Earnhardt Jr. up there in the conversation as well, as we'll head down this back straightaway here as we line up behind that number 25 of Joe Nemechek into turn number 3 here. And obviously for me, when it comes to Kansas, want to be up against the outside wall. So one of the first things I'm going to be doing here tonight is trying to get up there in these 80 laps of racing that we have coming your way tonight here from Kansas. Now, plenty of time for things to go very right for us, or of course the opposite, very wrong now, as we roll through 1 and 2 now. And looking to that left side of the 25. I'm very curious to see how Jimmy Johnson's going to get on here tonight. Jeff Gordon's another one we've been kind of watching now. Gordon, who had such a terrible first half of the season, although he hasn't won in the final half of the season so far, and he did win at Bristol earlier in the season, he has turned things around a lot in that DuPont Chevrolet team. And of course, Steve Letarte hopping on top of the number 24 pit box as crew chief a lot earlier than it happened IRL, and that move has seemed to do wonders for just the 24 completing races and moving their way back up the points, because they have had a disaster of a season, and yet they've still found a way to claw themselves back into the top 10 here in the championship standings. What could have been in 2003 for Jeff Gordon there, your most recently 2001 champion, of course, when he got his last title, as Ryan Newman gets to the lead of this race. And it has been a very fascinating season for Newman, but ever since kind of Sonoma, it felt like Ryan Newman kind of just started hitting his strides, and Newman has been a winning machine, and he's as well gonna need a little bit of help, but he's still in the championship conversation. We cannot rule out Ryan Newman winning the title for Penske Racing this season now. And I mean, with all the wins he's racked up at this season now, sitting at 5 career wins, which is in a big time tie with Ward Burton at 5, Kurt Busch at 5, Jimmy Johnson and Kevin Harvick all as well at 5 career wins, as we are in the battle here with the 18 of Labonte, Bobby Labonte that is now, and the 40 of Sterling Marlin. A couple wins, of course, to his name this season, as we already come to lap 9 at this point, and we've kind of got this big mix of fast cars and slower cars kind of all throughout the field that are all kind of slowly but surely getting into position now. And as these laps continue on, just continuing to rip the wall when I can. There was a few times here and there, especially in 3 and 4, where I felt like I could actually run the bottom line and I would find some decent speed. So that was definitely an option that was on the table as well. As we continue running this top, though, behind this Coors Light number 40 Ganassi driver of Sterling Marlin, we roll right up to the back of him. A great start, though, in these first 10 laps. We come to lap 15, though, still running in the mid-20s, and we've got Marlin, you got Nemechek, you got Burton, Biffle, Waltrip all right here together now on lap 16 of this race into turn number 1, and continuing to just see a lot of multi-groove racing there. These guys in front of us at 25 and the 99 kind of flirting with more of the middle to the slight top line here as we continue in this battle now. And we're already about to see some pit stops now, because you can go about 19 laps on a full tank of fuel, and we've got some guys already coming in now, including actually, I thought one of these guys was gonna pit. Got a little bit awkward right there, as we were 4 wide very briefly, but I was wanting to stretch this run out as far as I could, so I'm not going to pit until we're pretty well forced to pit, which will be at the end of lap 19. Now Matt Kenseth has stayed out, Ryan Newman's coming in, and they're going to stretch it a little bit further here, but we open up this race with a good green flag run as we spun out, coming onto the apron. We spin out all on our own, and we somehow keep it green. I was expecting a caution, but no, we stay green. We only give up a little bit of time. We'll come in and we'll get 4 Goodyear tires, as well as I did make a few adjustments to some tire pressure to kind of free up the car just a little bit, and we'll get back onto the track. And my goodness, that could have been a lot worse there, and if that would have turned into a caution, some guys I think would have been trapped a lap down. But after we got back onto the racetrack here, still with a few more cars yet to pit here, Ryan Newman does return to the lead. We are still on the lead lap, so we're going to still be in the mid-20s. We're P26. We only lost 1 spot by spinning out, so that went pretty well. And I mean, it helped that it was kind of like a half spin, because it kind of corrected itself back straight. But we had now actually run down the 16 of Biffle and the 15 of Michael Waltrip come lap 24 at this point now, and now trying to get ourselves just a few more spots here and there, slowly but surely, just taking my time, letting these positions really just kind of come to me, you could say, as we're going to get right on the left rear here of that number 15 DEI Chevrolet into turn number 3, and we should be able to clear Waltrip right here through the center of 3 and on the exit of 4, where we can really throttle up just like that. Thank you very much. Into 24th on lap 24. Then, a few laps later, we run down your Daytona 500 champion from this season, Ricky Craven, now, as we'll pass him around the outside, and we continue marching our way forward to 23rd, but a little bit of a gap to run down the next cars in front of us. And that gap would kind of prove to be too much, because after the last few laps, my car would really kind of flatline on pace, and I wasn't really gaining much anymore on anybody, and I wasn't really losing time either. So we just kind of got stuck here in 23rd, kind of in almost like a no man's land type scenario. Not too much, because I can still see those guys right in front of us. But we cut right to lap 34. And we are already coming up on our next set of green flag pit stops. Hard to believe this race has been green from lap 1, and we're almost halfway through this race already. And it's just been one of those clean and green races here from Kansas Speedway. Pit stops kicking off again, as here we go. We're going to be pitting in just a couple laps, but there's going to be a car into the wall. Hold on. Into the outside wall, the number 5 of Terry Labonte blows the tire. Caution flies, and from winning in Talladega to crashing here with a tire down, and a few drivers, including Kevin Harvick, were already into the pit lane. So nobody loses a lap from the pit stops, fortunately, with an awkward timed yellow. As we do come in for 4 tires in field, we lose 2 spots just due to a couple guys that were in the pit lane at the time of the caution that get propelled back to the front of the pack. So as we go back racing here now, it's going to be smack dab lap 40, just shy of halfway, 1 lap from it. And Ryan Newman, Harvick, Gordon, and Jarrett up front in your top 4. First 2 rows here as we head down into turn 1, and we got fellow Rookie of the Year competitor Jamie McMurray, who we now are well aware that if we're going to win Rookie of the Year, it's going to be against this guy, Jamie McMurray, who's had a very impressive rookie season. As the season progresses on, it feels like he's only gotten better as we head down into turn 3, and Newman continues to be in control over the now 24 of Jeff Gordon. I don't think Jeff Gordon's got a car capable of winning, but he's just kind of found himself up here on the conversation right now on speed. You know, another guy who's kind of struggling, Tony Stewart. Tony Stewart's not in the top 10. You can see that bright orange Home Depot bumper right there in front of us, running about 15th place or so. So Stewart just doesn't have the pace right now that he needs. And he's giving up important points to the 17 of Matt Kenseth as we speak. Now, of course, it all comes down to where you finish, not where you're running on lap 40, as we continue to just let this race, kind of come to us now, and we are continuing to go forward now into 18th, and I was trying to bring the fight to the 22 of Ward Burton. Unfortunately, once again, we kind of flatlined right here about 18th place, and at that point, as soon as you kind of flatline, you just kind of have to hold on at that point now. But look at the run we do get here on the outside now of this Caterpillar 22. And of course, we know Ward Burton will not be in that 22 car next season as we continue out of turn 4 at this point down this front straightaway now. And, well, the number 12 of Newman continues to run away in what's been a dominant performance here with 33 laps to go still in this race. Tony Stewart's working his way through traffic. He is getting up towards the top 10 as we speak. But Matt Kenseth's still up there in front of him. Kevin Harvick's in front of him. Jimmy Johnson. 3 guys that he wants to be beating on a weekly basis right now if he wants to win this championship right now are all beating him. And for us, of course, I don't really ever have anybody right now at this point in the season that I'm really focused on beating, as someone's in the pit lane. Now, that's the 43 of John Andretti with some smoke pouring out of the back of his car. That's going to be, appears to be race over for him, as we're starting to kind of fall off now. Come lap 50, coming up on 30 laps to go in this race. Tony Stewart. Tony Stewart's around. Caution's out, and that could be championship implications if he's out of this race or not. Not sure yet. Everyone's going to come into the pits. It's going to be a one-stop race from here. Martin's up to second. Bill Elliott up in third over Johnson and JG. We'll all get 4 tires in field, make another slight wedge adjustment, and we'll see. Tony Stewart, I don't know if he's not up here anymore, so he's either out or he lost a bunch of positions for repairs. Looking in the pit lane, I don't see a Tony Stewart orange number 20. Tony Stewart is still in this race. Can confirm Tony Stewart is still in this race. I can kind of see him back there. You can see the orange kind of peeking on the inside. So Stewart remains. There he is right there. So Stewart's still in it, meaning he's got an opportunity to still limit the damage. But of course, he hasn't really had the speed that Kenseth or Harvick or Johnson have had tonight, and now he's got to work his way back forward from deep in the field with only 27 coming to 26 laps to go in this race. It's not going to be very easy for that number 20 now, as Ryan Newman again in control. Bill Elliott is up to P2. Bill Elliott in just the final handful of races as a full-time NASCAR Winston Cup Series driver, and he's still up here fighting for wins. How about it? 1 win on the season for Bill Elliott, and now Elliott's actually to the inside of Ryan Newman. He's going to go take the lead. Bill Elliott and that number 9 Evernham Racing Team will go to the front. Now, of course, one of our members of the channel, of the pit crew membership, MJ Seals, crew chief for the number 9, is going to be cheering on his driver right here now as we exit turn 4, and we know Casey Kane is set to get into the number 9 car next season in 2004. He's going to have big shoes to fill, to say the least now, as awesome awesome Bill from Dawsonville has got himself back out in front. What a race right now that Bill Elliott is putting together as we continue in the mid-teens right now with Rusty Wallace and Jeremy Mayfield, and here comes Tony Stewart. 4 wide to the inside. Jeremy Mayfield and Wallace both kind of back out there, and we both go through. Stewart on the bottom, myself on the top, and Tony Stewart is on the aggression button. He knows he's got to make some gains here with only 20 laps to go in this race. And at this point, my pace is starting to fall off. Wallace is to my inside, and both he and as well the 19 of Jeremy Mayfield eventually are able to actually get themselves back in front of me as these laps continue on and the pace is just dropping. So I'm starting to think of other options, other ideas of, okay, how can I outsmart everybody, or just how can we get maybe a jump on everybody? One of the themes of this race has been green flag racing. We've had a lot of green flag racing tonight, and as my pace continues to fade and the 19 goes by, the 2 goes by, now here comes the 22 of Ward Burton as well, I'm like, you know what? Let's throw an audible. Let's come in right here, and we're going to take 2 tires and then run the final 15 laps of this race to the end and hope it stays green, because if a caution comes out, we're screwed. But we're going to pit right here. We're going to take 2 tires, bank on it staying green, gaining as much time as we can before everybody comes into the pits for the final time and a handful of laps, and then hopefully we can hang on for the final 9, 8 laps that we're going to have left available here in Kansas. So we'll come in, and it's simply no adjustments and a 2-tire pit stop here from Kansas Speedway. Now pretty straightforward. Now it's going to be an 8-second or so pit stop now as we get this number 21 Motorcraft Ford Taurus all parked up. Now 2 tires on. Let's go. It's going to be an 8-second flat stop now, and now we hope for no caution for at least 7 laps. We need to get to lap about 73 for this to hopefully work out for us now, of just having no cautions and letting this pit cycle run its course, because we're only about 3 to 4 laps away from seeing everybody else start to kind of trickle in over the next few laps after that to come into the pit lane. So we just need some green flag racing, and as we get back up to speed here now, we're going to be around other cars, unfortunately, meaning we're going to have to do some passing. And with these 2 fresh tires, I mean, it's not going to be the same advantage as if you had 4, but we are making some headway now as we head down into turn number 3 and just trying to maximize lap time. Around goes the 40 of Sterling Marlin into the infield. Yep. We're trapped a lap down. There goes that. There goes that. Fortunately, we are the first car a lap down. So we do get the free pass. We're P29. But now, I mean, we're back here. We're at the very back of the pack. So, yeah, that's not ideal. We're going to need another caution now, and I just don't see that coming. So, as we go back to the green flag, we're 29th, but at the very back of the pack with a lot of work to do now, as it's going to be 8 laps to go. Now, here is one positive. Everybody took 2 tires for obvious reasons. It's less than 10 to go. Considering I'm at the back, I came back into the pits. I took 4 tires. I said, throw the tires on. Let's go. So, I mean, once we pass this group of cars right here that are a lap down, we get back up to the lead lap cars, 28th and beyond, we might be able to start cooking and really gain some track position because of the tire advantage that we have. And look at the speed. Around the outside, huge run. We'll cut all the way down onto the apron there between Jeff Green and Kenny Wallace as well. And with 7 laps to go, we're already going to pull up towards the back of Marlin and Benson, who are on the lead lap cars. So this is going to open up a very nice opportunity, and honestly, maybe just kind of like a diamond in the rough scenario, because there's an opportunity that we could go well into the top 20 here with the 4 fresh tires that we have. As Bill Elliott continues to lead, we barely clear the 32, split the middle between the 18 and the 1, and just like that, we're up into 24th now, rolling up to the bank of a couple of rookies here of Nemechek. As the 42 of McMurray and the 16 of Greg Biffle now, and we pass them relatively easily now as we roll up to the back of the Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet of Michael Waltrip now, and we're already nearly into the top 20 as we come towards 5 laps to go. And it's right now Elliott, and then it's Gordon, and then it's the 17 of Matt Kenseth, who looks like he's going to extend his championship lead here from Kansas Speedway in these closing 5 laps of racing now as we break into the top 20 here. And now We're going to go to the outside of that Jerry Nadeau 01. Expected more speed out of him considering the fire symbol. It's not been a bad race by any means for him, but I definitely expected more, and I feel like probably everybody did now as we're into P19, and we can probably still gain another 4 or 5 spots. Caution is out, and it's an engine failure on the 01 of Johnny Benson, and that is going to take us into a 2-lap shootout, maybe in regulation, as now we stack them all back up and we have a chance to gain more positions. This works out pretty well. Here we go. Green flag racing, it's in regulation. This is not overtime. A 2-lap shootout in regulation. We have had plenty of overtimes in NASCAR's first ever season of implementing overtimes. Now, so many news to the sport here in 2003, from overtimes to double file, restarts, you name it, it's been there. And now with 2 laps to go here from Kansas Speedway, Bill Elliott, ever since he got the lead, hasn't looked back. We thought Ryan Newman was the car to beat until that 9 got up in front, and a former NASCAR Winston Cup champion, 44 career wins to his name, looking for 45, retiring from full-time racing at the end of the season. Only a handful of races left in his career, and as we come through to start the final lap, Matt Kenseth is up to P2 to pressure that number 9 as we head down into turn number 1. Jeff Gordon, who restarted on the front rows all the way on the top and losing ground quick now as we're going to pull up right to the back of the Miller Lite number 2 Dodge of Rusty Wallace as he's alongside the number 99 of Jeff Burton as we go into 3 and 4 for the final time. Elliott to the top, Kenseth to the inside. Who's going to get here first? It looks like Elliott's going to have the momentum. Bill Elliott's gonna do it. Bill Elliott, win number 45, and maybe for the final time in his NASCAR Winston Cup career. Can you believe it? 45 times a Cup winner, and as well a crew chief win for MJ Seals. Congratulations to MJ and that number 9 team. As you see the rest of your finishing orders, we got 16th over Burton and Wallace at the line. What a race. A lot of green flag racing, which was great, but a little bit of chaos at the end kind of, trickled in there. But the question is, what do the points look like following today? And, well, Matt Kenseth, of course, does increase his championship lead following today's episode here after beating all the championship competitors. He now has a 13-point gap on Stewart, a 30-point gap on Harvick. And then, you got to go just a little bit further down to get to Johnson and Newman. But there's still 5 drivers that realistically could still win this championship. It is going to come down to the absolute wire. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.
I want you back.